Peace, YouTube. Peace, YouTube. Welcome. Thought I'd do a quick live today to have another topic of discussion. So check on a little bit. I noticed that on YouTube, you guys check in a lot quicker. So I'll let you check in a little bit and we'll get into the discussion. And we can kind of, it's a quick discussion. I just wanted to discuss something that I've noted for a while. Peace, Telly. That I've not really talked about. Well, I kind of speak about it, but I guess we can kind of get into it. Hey, Dio. Hey, Dio. Happy Thursday. Peace, Rosalina. Rosalino. Is it morning for you? You're on the West Coast. If it's morning for you, you're on the West Coast. Hey, Teasy. You're new? You are new? I'm new. Peace, then, C-Star. Hey, Jennifer. Hey, Latin Rican. What up, Nora from the UK? What's good? Hey, the amazing Jean. Hey, Darren. Hey, Yolanda. Hey, Nina. What up, Nina? Bumbre? Did I say it right? Mojo. What's good? Did you get my telepathic message? Well, if the topic matches what you were thinking about, perhaps. What up, Susie? So anyway, guys, I'm going to kind of... Oh, Vancouver's in the house. I'm going to start up the topic. Listen, for a while, I notice a lot, and I tend to wait for a while to kind of, I'm really, really big on investigations and fielding things out before I kind of talk about them on social media. But as I'm on social media, what up, Erica? Eric? I called you Erica. Eric. Where did that come from? Ooh. Anyway, what up, Carlos? What a neighborhood. Anyway, so I was saying to myself, I was thinking about, talking about this, but what was so interesting is that everything kept bombarding me because it was relative in how I was planning to discuss it, because there were biobots, and, the matrix out here is full of empty seeders and biobots. And why I say biobots, I'm adding that to the field a little bit because I'm noticing that every time that I go on social media, there are a bunch of beings that are not even real. Whether it be an FB, whether it be on the Twitter account, whether it be on YouTube, whether it be on, what's the other one? Instagram. There's a lot of non-living, I question whether they have a soul or a spark encased in their avatar, beings out here engaging with everyone as if they're real, and it's kind of sad. Non-humanoids. Thank you, Peace XOX. Perfect way to describe it. So I just wanted to discuss that we are engaging now because of social media. It's allowed for non-existing beings that are empty seeders or biobots to engage with us, and without any sense of connection to the higher realms, without any access to the Akashic records. These are beings that are created, manufactured, and actually other beings are creating them with all these bogus accounts. You ever notice on FB? Now listen, go on your FB account. When FB first started, I already told you, I'm a woman of a certain age. So I remember when FB first started, it was all about connecting with your high school friends, all your friends from college and high school, all your old chums, right? So I think when I started FB, it was simply because, remember, I think you remember Classmates. If any of you remember, the first social media thing that was real big was, what was it? Space, oh gosh, iSpace, what was it? iSpace? The other one, Space, what was it called? Space something, MySpace. Thank you, MySpace. And then we had Classmates, right? So we all were connecting. First thing I was on Classmates, because Classmates had like people from your high school. Thank you, family. People from your high school, you can reconnect with them. You can have your reunions. I was really enticed by that because a lot of us, many beings who, we move after high school sometimes, right? So Eric said MySpace was ratchet. No, it was ratchet. I will say this. But a lot of times, we connected with those people on Facebook. Well, Facebook came about after my Classmates. I think it's called Classmates, right? And then MySpace, after MySpace. Because MySpace was kind of like, you got on Classmates, oh, everybody kind of hooked up, you know, those old crushes. It was really debaucherous, though, because there were more affairs. I shouldn't laugh. There was more cheating, which you could, quote unquote cheating, because you know I don't believe in that. There was more cheating that happened when MySpace was created. There were more breakups due to people reconnecting with those old flames that they never quite got over, that they ended up, you know, meeting on Classmates and then getting sucked into MySpace and having all kinds of cyber sex, you know, cybersexual chats and what have you. So, oh, you were too young, Karima? Thank goodness. Be grateful that you didn't go into that debauchery. So anyway, so I remember that. But then as we came along, my Facebook came about. And Facebook was cool because all the college chums, it kind of upgraded a little bit for me, all the college chums that you didn't get a chance to talk to after the fact, or high school people, you kind of reconnected. It was pictures, you linked up. Your old school town, Mount Vernon I was excited because Mount Vernon's a very little city in New York. And, you know, most of my, you know, anyone I wanted to reconnect with was on, you know, Classmates, and then eventually I hooked up with them on MySpace, but I didn't like MySpace because it was real seedy, and then Facebook came about. So fast forward, now we have Facebook. Why is it that, you know, I have this account, I have a couple accounts because, you know, they try to delete me all over the place, but why is it on Facebook you've got 50 million sexual pictures of, I don't know, mail for order brides, you know, porn pictures of mostly females. I don't know, maybe gay males get the males with sexy pictures, but all on Facebook trying to friend you up. And then when you open up the account, it's a whole bunch of like heinous pictures of like, you know, all kinds of mad pictures of all kinds of sexual, she's in, you know, very, you know, suggestive pictures and so on. But these aren't real beings. These are biobots. Like, they're not biobots, so to speak, but like, you know, the imagery is that of a biobot, like of not real people taking on, you know, taking space and taking on a profile. And mind you, I'm a real person. And you know how many times Facebook has deleted my Facebook page? Do you know how many times that I'm a real person? They actually ask for your ID. I've given them IDs, all kinds of stuff, and they've deleted mine. But all these fake profiles of sexual, you know, probably incubus, cyber incubus and succubus that have made their way to the, you know, found a way to hologram their way into the, you know, the cyber world. They're all friending you up. But then you get people, what you think are people. Because many of us are socializing on social media. Many of us know each other on social media. Many of us only know each other from social media. So we can't necessarily verify who we are or if this person is this way or so on. But I'm also noticing a trend too, whereas beings are utilizing their, and I don't judge it, but I question if they're real. They have a profile. There's no pictures of themselves. No pictures of a connection to anyone who knows them really. No pictures of family. Just like profile pictures of like beings, you know, somebody, you know, avatars, like another form of avatars. They've got pictures of like all this cool stuff, but you can't really see them. You can't look into their eyes to see if it's going to shapeshift, if you turn it upside down, if you put it under a different light. You can't see if people can verify who they are as far as like children, family, husband, wives, girlfriends, boyfriends, dogs, cats, you know, whatever verifies you. You ever notice that you get all these beings now on Facebook and on Instagram and on Twitter that are actually not even real beings? I question that they're not Matrix sent, Smith sent biobots. Now, not organic biobots, because I tell you, biobots have organic, you know, they're kind of organic on the outside, but they're all mechanics on the inside. I think they're just sending all these masterful looking beings who can be whatever you want them to be. If you're a Girl Scout, they'll come with Girl Scout outfits and cookies. If they are, you know, if you're conscious, they'll come with a whole bunch of like, you know, masterful pictures of the universe and, you know, fit 5D, 3D pictures. You'll see them at whatever you like. They bam. They make a profile picture that matches it, but you can't verify anything about them. You can't find anything about them. Now, I'm not questioning everybody, but I just noticed that there are a lot of biobots and empty seaters infiltrating all of cyberspace, literally all over. I mean, it's literally like, I don't want to disrespect rats, but it's like rats and vermin all leeching and crawling throughout cyberspace, and you can't verify any of these beings. And they're thriving because they don't have to have any legitimacy other than people taking them, accepting them, and friending them, and liking all their stuff. They can literally, listen, I've talked about other beings here that are coexisting here that have biobots and syntheticas taking their place and going to work every day. I've talked about that. There are people who have a remote control, and they have control over these beings that you see going into corporate America, walking and looking like normal people, and they're really syntheticas or biobots utilized by beings that cannot go to work every day or cover or watch over the business because they do not look humanoid enough. And it would freak out anybody in their company if they walked in as they were. I'm just saying, I know that's a fact that happens. So I'm just saying, I would be really mindful of, oh yes, Erica Jane is one of them. I called her out as a synthetica, and ever since I did that, remember they canceled my account, and then they also tagged me for saying that, and also they took off the video that I had with Erica Jane when Vanderpump called her, Vanderpump's husband, no, not Vanderpump's husband, Erica Jane's husband, who is older, called Vanderpump an alligator, and that's code for draconian, because he said she was lurking on the side like an alligator. That's code for draconian. But anyway, Erica Jane on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, I called her out as synthetica. I saw that a mile away because I know what syntheticas are. They are the playthings. They are syntheticas, avatars that are all biobot. They're all mechanics. They're not even biobot. They're syntheticas. They're purely fake. Everything inside and out. They are created by very wealthy, usually males. Some females make them, but it's very rare. The royals have them as toys. The sheiks have them. The Middle Eastern sheiks, the African wealthy, all have these sexual toys that look like you could not tell the difference if you saw them. It is very difficult. It is highly. The technology is surpass anything that they will let you know that they have. But I called her out as a synthetica. And when I did, it went back to that circle. I know for a fact, because I know, big up to our people in Beverly Hills, because we got family everywhere. Flurboom plays in all circles. I know people in all walks of life. So that information went right back to that nest. And don't you know that they made sure they brought a fake mother on that show to try to verify that she was real? They try to bring beings on the show to make her look more real and make her cry more so she looks more real. No, honey, you can't fake it, because once I called it out, I knew what she was. And it's not, but don't try to make her seem real. Stepford wife, thank you, TM. If she's what she is, let her be. But don't sit here and try to, make her appear or fool us by bringing in a synthetica upon, a show. She's very fair, very beautiful. Listen, Erica Jane, I'm not hating on her. That's a beautiful synthetica. She's beautiful. She's very shapely. He modeled her after old 50s, version of what he probably desired. He's an older gentleman, part of that Mason occult world. And from my knowledge, was probably friends with those who connected to Crowley, Aleister Crowley. Big up to the sect, the occult sect. Anyway, so he had her on the show, versioned her after a 50s version. She's very voluptuous. Some men from that particular time could appreciate women that were size 12 plus, 14. Very voluptuous. She's very fair. She's older than I. And she's, fair-skinned women, lunars, they have to take very good care of their skin because, the sun is not forgiving with lunars. They don't have as much sunscreen. So they tend to take their skin, they tend to make sure they're out of the sun. But a woman who's in her late 40s, who's a lunar, will show more likely than a woman who's of color, who's of the same age. It's harder to tell her age. But this Erica, She looks like she's in her 20s still, and that's very odd. I'm saying plastic surgery, yes, you could get all that, but not to this degree. This is a bomb synthetic. She's beautiful. I don't listen. I'm not mad at the synthetica, but I'm just saying don't try to perpetrate her as being a real being. We're not stupid. But they try to, they heard what I stated. They made sure they brought everything off because I was the only person who called her out. And it's only because I know certain things. And remember, I walk in a lot of worlds, so I can verify things more based on the fact that I'm exposed to more. And I'm walking different circles. Big up to like I said, my peeps and BH. The Beverly Hills, listen, our family in Beverly Hills is no joke. They blow spots. They just won't do it out publicly. They let people like me do it. Take the hit. Anyway, so I'm off topic. Sorry. So that's an example of a synthetica. Now, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about these social media pariahs, these glitches that are made into beings that you think are real. And they are, not only are they surviving, thriving, but they're hiding all in your social media friend list. You can't even verify. I can't even verify people. Even when you go to my page, the one thing that I do is I put my picture, like I'll put the Flurber, the Andromeda Sea Star Flurber. One thing you see with that is you'll see, my avatar that I put up. I just put that up, but you'll see a picture of me right away. Because I want people to know that that's me. It's really me. It's just I have to have splinter cell accounts because if one gets deleted, I gotta have backup. But I'm just saying, you can't verify any of these beings. I'm calling out at least 35 to 40 or maybe more, 50% of the beings on social media aren't even real. And you can't even verify it. Because a whole bunch of them are fake. They're biobots. And even if they were real, they're not real in a sense of being biologically human. They are beings sitting there to distract you, to cause you to be lured by them, to feed off of your sexual energy. Like I said, I think these are glitches that are, some sort of some of them are incubus, some sort of mechanical, some sort of social media incubus, succubus, feeding off your energy. I don't know how they're ciphering the energy nowadays because I'm not really up on how that actually happens, as far as the how it's actually done, step by step. But I know that there's something wrong when you're seeing bogus accounts all over the place and then the real people are getting tagged all over the place. That doesn't make sense because you have people who are paid to monitor social media. They monitor social media and they're there to verify and also stop any cyber harassment or anything like that. So you have people who are paid for this, but why is it that everybody who's real is getting tagged and getting kicked off, but all these biobots with all these sexually piloted pictures and porn are staying? That doesn't make sense if that is what these people or these companies are saying, that they're there to protect you and your safety and make sure that they validate that people's accounts are real. Facebook is one of them. I mean, you can make anytime I've tried to make an account, they make it. I might as well sign for a closing on a house. That's how difficult they make it for me. But how do you have all these Russian prostitutes? I'm not saying Russian women are prostitutes. I'm just saying you see a lot of these foreign male for brides type of beings on Facebook trying to friend you. And then, Mark Zuckerberg is a reptilian. Yes, I agree. But so is everybody else. We talked about this already. But I'm just saying we got biobots and they are thriving because of social media. They would not be able to exist in such a strong way. I mean, literally, you cannot verify people. You cannot. And that's why I try to make sure, even with Cypher, I try to do a lot of protection, but even with people, a lot of people like to, listen, I get it. Sometimes you want to have an account because your spouse doesn't want you talking to people about reptilians, or maybe you don't want your friends and families knowing that you believe in ET and UFOs. I kind of get it in our community because sometimes we do things like that because many of you may not feel comfortable enough to come out of the galactic closet. Some of you are still in your galactic closets, hiding your metaphysical, tools in your house when you have company. Many of you are hiding your galactic, Doctor Who, paraphernalia in your house. I get it. and I come from that. So I understand why people have private accounts, but I'm just saying there's too many, and they are literally ciphering off of your energy, all especially the sexual ones, because there's a lot, and we got to be mindful. You got the pedophile network has skyrocketed because of social media. It is skyrocketed because you have grown men and some women. I don't want to let the women get off, but a lot of grown men who have bogus accounts so that they can lure little children with conversation. So you got to watch your little sea stars, because these these big pervs, and remember they've been busting. Sidebar. Tomorrow's our re-raising of our shield, our divine shield. Remember, purple and white tomorrow, my sea stars. Tomorrow we reactivate our divine feminine shield so that we can protect ourselves and our children and our families from these parasitic, vampiric, demonic pedophiles. Yeah, a lot of these pedophiles have all kinds of bogus accounts. Like, if you can't show me your picture, homie, don't come here. Don't have a conversation. I can't verify you. And I don't know how you listen. The cyber dating thing, like I think I tried cyber date. I haven't even taken my account down. This is a while ago, because I wanted to try to date normal people. I'm not saying we're abnormal, but we're special. But I remember even doing that. I was like, how do I validate? Like, how do you go on a date with somebody from cyberspace, and then you feel weird asking them, like, listen, show me your license. No, an up-to-date license. I want to see your license right now with all the numbers. Don't try to hide the numbers. I'm not going to try to kill you. At least I don't, women do some dastardly things too. I don't want to take them away, because I've heard about some women setting up these date things on Craigslist and robbing men. You vicious vixens. You got to stop doing that, because you make it hard for all the legitimate sea stars who are trying to have decent relationships with males. But I would say, how are you dating in cyberspace with all these bogus people? Because I remember, listen, I went on one, I keep it real with you. I went on one day. I remember people were asking, why are you cyber dating? Because I was like, I meet different people, and I don't meet people that, anyway, that's a long story. But I remember going on one date. I'm going to tell you something real. See, I keep it, catfish. I remember seeing that show, but listen, I went on one date, and I show pictures, of myself every which way. People see me. You see me on YouTube every day. I look the same. I look a lot. I do actually do my hair and brush my hair and look a little prettier at night when I'm going on a date. I do try to do that. Because, I'm all kinds of, natural messy in the day. But I went on a date. I saw the guy, seemed cool. He was into a lot of the same things I was. Went to go meet him. And I'm in the place, and a guy comes and says hello to me, and I'm thinking, okay, no, I'm waiting for someone. He says, no, I'm the person, you're waiting for. Who are you? You're not the guy who was on, I didn't say that, but I was like, you don't look anything like your pictures at all, not even 20 of them. He had like 20 pictures. He didn't look like not even half the picture. It wasn't even like he had an older picture. He looked like I don't know. Catfish wasn't even the word. It wasn't that he was unattractive. It was a whole different man. Like, he wasn't a bad looking man, but it wasn't the man that I was talking to. So I kindly said, listen, I don't play games. You are not the person. He was like, I don't want people to know. And I will say this, he had a good point. He's a very handsome man, and he was a very wealthy man. This is where we talked later. I wasn't going to date him though. He was a very wealthy man, and he didn't want people doing face recognition, finding out he had money or what have you. But, I said, you can't do that. If you're out dating, you have to keep it real, because women don't do that. But he was, this was a good catfish. It wasn't a bad one. He wasn't, like I said, he was better looking than the man that, if I'm judging, I'm not one judging, but he was better looking than the man that I thought I was going out with, and he was wealthy. So he was doing it to kind of field it out. But, I talked to him after. I would never date anyone who would trick someone like that, because if he's doing that on the giddy up, he's not trustworthy. He lacks integrity, and he's playing games. But yeah, he was a wealthy man who just did that. So he figured, and he had researched all of me. He knew everything about me. He knew I was on social media. Who knew who I was? I don't really hide myself. He knew what I did back in the days. He knew everything about me, and I knew nothing about him. So that's what I'm saying, ladies. Be careful with this whole dating on social media. He taught me a valuable lesson that people will embellish, or really he didn't embellish anything. He kind of downplayed himself just because he was trying to protect himself, but he left me all vulnerable. Who wants to be with someone like that? Anyway, I'm sorry, I sidebarred. But I'm just, yeah, he could be yes, he's probably a handler. Thank you. One of the handlers sent for me. A lot of them are. Listen, there's so many. If you're a light being, if you're in the let's keep it real. If you're on this transmission and you're trying to be better and you're trying to raise your frequency, they're coming for you, and they will send everyone, and they will mess with your family to try to sidebar your upliftment, your raising your consciousness, your progression. They will do everything to try, and it's not just one. It's like parasites all over the place. You got to keep yourself disinfected. You got to do cleanses, and sometimes you have to do isolatory cleanses where you clear everybody out, even family, just for a little stint of time, so you can kind of get yourself, reacclimated and back to yourself, and then you can step back out with the rest of the parasites, because they will send them for you, and they will try to, and again, it comes through your family too. They will infiltrate the person who's weakest in your family, the person who has the most issues in your family. Sometimes it'll be somebody who's a drug addict, an alcoholic, somebody who has issues with money. So they will infiltrate you at all corners. So I'm just saying, if you the path to enlightenment is a single path. It is usually by yourself. If you find another person to walk with, it's very rare, but they may splinter off on their own path. It's a very solitude path. I am by myself more than not. People ask all the time. They think that Flurboon's out here dropping it like it's hot. I do occasionally, but I'm mostly on my own. And that's why I tend to when I see people, when I've dated people, I tend to go back to what I know and verified already. I'm not a fan of meeting someone new. When I meet someone new, they go through the rigmarole. And I'm down with the galactic sea stars. The Andromedans don't even really feel men like that. They're not really fans of males because of what's happened in the patriarchy. So I'm down with galactic females that they will put whoever wants to be with me through all kinds of tests. And at the end of the day, 90% of the beings that are out here could not survive that. There's only one or two that I know kind of just barely made it. And those are the ones I enjoy to be around the most. So I'm just saying, be mindful of these infiltrators using social media to get at you. And if you don't know him, listen, Sea Stars, because you have a lot of these. I've talked about these parasites and these vampires utilizing spirituality and consciousness because they flunked out. They're matrix flunkies. Listen to me, they're matrix flunkies. They flunked out of doing anything successful in the quote unquote regular 3D world. So what they do is they found a new niche that they can infiltrate without verification. So they will come saying they're all conscious. All they do is read books all day and spit them out to you. Some of them are making oils and waters and selling it to you and putting their semen in it. We talked about that, which is disgusting. It's disgraceful. And some of the women are putting their menses blood in it, which is adverse to what they should be doing anyway. I'm just saying, there's a lot of very disturbed empty seeders out here. They are not connected to source. There's pedophiles. The pedophiles, listen, someone asked me about pedophiles and my thought about the connection to ETs. Let me explain something to you. Any galactic being or interterrestrial being, that kind of depraved behavior of having like unnatural sexuality, depraved, like people who like to have sex with corpses, necrophiliacs, or bestiality can fall into some forms of normality with certain beings. But pedophilia, having sex with babies and stuff like that, that is a being that is not there. Only beings who do that. See, what people don't realize, they mix up the ETs and the beings that are their peons and their puppets, the occultists and Satanists that do their bidding. So why they're saying, well, why if the ETs don't do it, or why would they condone it? The ETs don't do those most of those depraved things, especially pedophilia, but those darker forces know that if beings underneath them, meaning the ones who they're peons or their slaves or their runners or their puppets, they know that if they create a world in which these beings do depraved things, lower things. It makes them more mind controllable, and also it lowers their vibration, allows more inceptibility into their, into getting into their bodies. A lot of demonic beings, like when humans, depraved humans, sick humans, do depraved sexual things, especially with little children, because it lowers their vibration enough to infiltrate their mind, their body, and their spirit. ETs don't do that, but they will encourage the humans to do that because it makes them more mind controllable. Do you see what I mean? Because someone said, why would the ETs do that? No, animals don't even do depraved things like some human beings. You don't see animals going and having sex with corpses. The scent of corpses alone makes animals stay away unless it's babies. If a mother dies, children will stay by, or sometimes, the mate of an animal may stay by that body, but the scent is meant to repel. People who do things in the forms of bestiality and necrophilia and pedophilia, really, really dark forms of pedophilia. All forms of pedophilia is dark, but there's darker versions of pedophilia. Those beings are empty seeders. They don't have a soul anymore. They lost their soul. I would even question, only beings who could do that are clones and biobots who have these are not even humans. These are not even beings that even had a soul. They were just, they're beings being told what to do, or being propelled to do it by servicing other beings to lower their field. That's it. These are not I'm telling you, this is not ET based behavior. These are depraved human behaviors based on the fact that they are sick, and they are lost, and they are gone. There's no soul. Once you violate a child, your soul is gone. You made a pact with, quote unquote, the demons and devils. You're done. And that's why, I love that Jewel Brookman said, be careful judging, beings who come back as being abused people, because if you find out in their past life, some of these people were people who were molesting and harming children in their past life, and they are now living in bodies where they're having the same thing done to them. So that's what I'm saying. You got to be careful not to judge people and what they go through. You can have compassion and empathy, but at the end of the day, you got to be mindful that some people who come back are the same people. What you do, you come back and you deal with. So if you were a depraved pedophile hurting little babies, you will come back as one who's hurt like that, and you will have to deal with the trauma all your life of being hurt and harmed, never having self-worth, feeling like you don't want to live, or being not able to be able to have a good quality of life. Because once you're tampered with, once you're harmed, and most people, I'm telling you, they did a census, and it's not even a realistic one. More than half the people, especially in the United States, is being molested or has been molested. And that's sad. It's really sad. So, as parents or grandparents or uncles, aunts, sister, big sisters, what have you, you have to be very mindful who you have your children around, especially now with social media, and you see all the biobots and these empty seeders. Empty seeders are the ones you need to be careful of, because empty seeders are usually programmable. So empty seeder is somebody who does not have a soul encasement. They're just, I call them props. They walk around, there's no connection, you can tell they don't have any empathy. They can be positive or negative based on what their program is. Sometimes you're just here just as spectators from other beings, but they don't have a soul. There's no connection to the Akashic records. They don't have accountability because they don't have to be accountable for anything because they don't have a soul. And for that fact, they can be programmed to do some depraved things. That's why you have to be careful with empty seeders. Empty seeders are pretty, and you could be one too. Some people walk around judging empty seeders. You could be an empty seeder too. Empty seeders just don't have accountability. They don't have feelings. I remember talking to one of our sea stars, a couple of our sea stars, and they were telling me some of their mothers' behaviors. Like some of their mothers were really, really, really negative, like evil. And these were decent, and they had children that were real with souls. It can happen. And they were saying how their mothers weren't able to feel. These are women that were lacking in empathy and love and nurturing. Now that could also happen from being socially traumatized themselves. So I would like to say this, sometimes, he doesn't have a soul, Indigo. I agree. He's another being though. We already took pictures of him. He had pan eyes, like goat eyes. I don't know what kind of being that is. We don't talk about the goat beings. Maybe we'll do a show on that one. He has goat eyes. I don't know what being he is, but Indigo, you're absolutely right. And he's sick. He's one of those. But what was I just saying? You know when I go off. Oh, they were saying how mean their mothers are. But again, people who are empty seaters, you could tell they don't have. Even when they're happy, it seems empty and non-connective. It's really dense. There's no feelings. There's no vibration there. And it's not a judgment, but you just got, because that's why I call them props. Empty seaters are props. They just, anybody was in acting on a stage, or, did Broadway, you go on a stage and they put props up every scene, right? So these are props, you walk around them, sometimes you act with them, sometimes you interact with the props, they're props, they're on stage, but another scene comes up and more props come up. They're not real, they're just here to be. And you walk around them and you should not engage with them seriously because, again, props can be infiltrated with the Smiths. And that's what they're used for. They're like empty cases so that beings can infiltrate them at any time and take them over for a moment. Where do you get all these people that sometimes wake up and kill their whole families? Could be demonic attachment, but I would question if they were empty seaters that were just, engaged in the world, and all of a sudden, some beings decided, to infiltrate that body, that avatar, and bam, it took over the body, and they did those heinous acts. And usually people will say there was no indication that these people were sick or sociopaths, not even narcissists. So where'd that come from? Yes, they could have, some people are chipped, especially if, depending on what their background is. If they were from my labs or, from the military, they could be chipped and they can be controlled that way. So that is, we call them sleeper cells. You push a button, bam, they're activated and they do whatever. Or you say a trigger word, ice cream or peanut butter sandwiches, something weird. And then they're activated and then they do kind of depraved things, and sometimes they don't even have memories of it. Remember the guys who would take an Uber? Remember the Uber thing? The signature for Uber? And the Uber cab driver said he just saw the thing. He was an Uber driver, he was a regular guy. He said he saw the thing on Uber, that little Uber signature came on, and he said, bam, he said he was out. And all he remembers is the devil telling him to kill the people in the back of the seat. Something crazy like that, right? So you see that? There's a trigger. So you gotta be mindful. People, I have a healthy sense of paranoia. And that comes from being reared in New York City. Big up to New York, my New York brethren. New York will make you really, really paranoid. It will, but I think it's a healthy paranoia because when people act odd, I'm the first to notice. You know what I mean? When someone doesn't give me eye contact, when it's necessary, when it's appropriate, I notice that. When someone is really, really defensive or really cold without emotion, and it's in a placement where it's not appropriate, I notice that. It's because I grew up in a place where you notice, you have to notice everything for your survival. It's just what it is. If you take a subway, I worked at the World Trade Center. I worked at the Gap when I was going to college. Big up to all my Gap workers. I worked at the Gap in the World Financial Center. It was the coolest job. I spoke French, so it was the coolest job in the world while I was going to college. So I was working at the Gap, and I tell you, I used to come home sometimes at midnight on the sub, and the Metro North doesn't work at night, so I would have to take the subway. So I take the subway. Let me tell you, I've seen more robberies, stabbings, craziness. So I used to stay in the front of the train where the conductor was, and I just sit over there and wait. But I've seen people get robbed, for a hat like this, and stabbed in their neck just for nothing. So I've had to, be mindful and watchful, of my surroundings, and I'm grateful for that upbringing because in the ET and contactee and with all this cyber madness we're seeing right now, it does help to have that kind of natural, healthy paranoia because I can see things before most people see it, and I'm grateful for that because it's allowed me to. Would I do a debate, Lawan? Yeah, I do a debate. You guys always want to debate. Who wants to debate me? The conscious community always wants to debate. Who wants to debate me? I always offer, listen, family, I'm as real as it gets. I'm not saying I'm perfect. No, that you won't get from me because I'm not perfect. I'm perfectly imperfect. That you have to accept. It just is what it is. I make mistakes daily. I have to apologize to people sometimes. This is what it is. I keep it 1,000. But there's a troll, Florbrone. Indigo's calling out a troll. Yeah, I can't debate. truth. But no, truth. Everybody has different sides, and everybody's perspective is different, and we live on different parallel. Some people come from different parallel universes where their truth is way different than mine. But yeah, if anyone wants to talk, remember tonight is our show. Aquarius Rising is open mic. It's open galactic mic tonight. So if you want to come and you want to, because all the polygamists are coming for me. Listen, polygamists. Like I said, I don't want to offer my yoni to you. You will never, ever, ever be able to be a part of my yoni. It's not going to happen. I'm okay with that, and you need to be okay too. For all those polygamists who keep threatening to take their magic wands and make me magically change my perspective on polygamy, you can't do it. There's no magic wand in the world that could do that. So anyway, listen. So if you want to, the polygamists, because they're the ones coming for me. The polygamists, you want to come and talk to me? Call me in tonight. What's the number? Where's my number? Hold on. Let me get the number for you so you can do it. Oh gosh, I should know the number. Does somebody know the number? 515-615-7885. What is the number? I can never. You notice I never remember the number, and I say it all the time. I'll put. You know what? I'll put the link on for all the polygamists who literally want to come and debate me. I don't think it's a debate, but if you want to speak your side and talk about how wonderful that being because I've not heard one woman who stayed in polygamy for over a couple of years who said it was wonderful. But it seems like only males find polygamy wonderful, and all the women end up staying in it and then getting out of it years later, or just forced to concede because they're just done. So for all the polygamists who want to talk to me and convince, or speak your side. There's no convincing. Speak your side by all means. Why don't you? What is it? I will get your information. My promoter asked me to reach out. Oh, who's this? Luan? Oh, yeah, Luan. Yeah. If anybody wants to talk to me and have a discussion, one thing you'll know with me is I'm okay with open conversation as long as it's respectful. There's no reason to start calling names. When you've called names, you've lost. It means you've lost your mind. You've lost your footing. You've lost. Anytime you lack self-control and your demeanor has to, get offset because of something, that means you've lost. So if you can have a decent conversation, I'm all for listening and, observing someone else's perspective. Everybody has their perspective, and I'm very respectful of that. So for all the polygamists, because they seem to be coming at me the most. The Nation of Islam, what are they called? The Hebrew Israelites, the pseudo-conscious community. You should hear what they say to me. If I shared many of the emails that I get from some of these males, some of you would never follow them again. You follow some of these entities. You should read the brave things that they say to me. It's really sad. Anyway, so if you want to call in tonight, I'm going to put on the number. I wish I could remember it now, but Fleur Bruin, as much as I do the show. So tonight is open galactic mic. Call in. If you want to have a conversation, blow their spots. If I blew their spots, everybody's spot is getting blown. Well, Luan, you can always call me. My email is delgaddes@gmail.com. delgaddes@gmail.com. So it's delgaddes@gmail.com. Okay, I'm all for having open conversations with everyone. That's a wonderful thing, and I always encourage people. Like I said, my upbringing in New York has allotted me a really special, unique way of being very the least judgmental when it comes to things. I can acknowledge others' disposition and positions without, attacking them or feeling abused or victimized. I'm okay with that. And I think it's healthy for us to be able to see other people's perspectives, because we all have been reared very differently, and we've all been touched by different circumstances that changes our perspectives. And I'm okay with that. And I think it's healthy for us to engage like that. I think if we did more healthy discussions with each other to see each other's perspective without, low blowing and going left and cursing up the storm. I'm not saying, someone said, Fleur Bruin has a naughty mouth off camera. I am quite human in that way, but I am mindful that I'm not going to throw nasty verbiage at those who are listening to me, because I think that's abusive. I think it's not, it's disrespectful. I was reared differently. I come from old school, and I think it's only appropriate. Oh, I'm sorry. DELGADDESS@gmail.com. I'll put all my information on there. And again, tonight is Aquarius Rising Night Gate. Barry Littleton is joining me again, so you know how we get down. I'm gonna get some rest. So all you feisties, listen, I'm open for the dialogue. For all those who like to hide behind words in my email or texting me or driving by my house, you have an opportunity to call me and we can discuss this openly. If you have beef with me, if any of the polygamous wives, you want to call me, by all means. I'm open, receptive. We can have conversations. Anyone who's having, contact experience that is less than nice, because sometimes you think that we only bring up the nice aspects of contact. It's not that. It's just that the majority of contact that beings are having with most beings on this planet are positive. There's been a misnomer that most people are having negative, and we've found out that most negative contact is usually happening because of military inception. Okay, so just be mindful. I just want to talk about the biobots and the empty seaters just getting away with everything. They have an open forum on all these platforms. Social media, it has allotted for the Pandora's box to be open, and every type of being has leeway to engage with us without us being able to verify that they're human or not. Oh wait, my husband stopped sleeping in the same bed, can't stay in the room with me anymore, 10 minutes. Really, cats? Because you raise your frequency. Listen, I told you about my Nazi. We talked about the Nazi. The Nazi listen, when you raise your vibration, beings that are demonically connected, anything, they can't be around you. You should let them go. When you see an expiration date on many of you who eat meat or vegetables, don't keep anything in your realm that has an expiration date that's passed, because it's rotten. We keep relationships. It's not appropriate for us to keep relationships past their expiration date. Some relationships are not meant, especially at this period of time, some relationships are not meant to be here for long term. They're meant to teach us. Many of our relationships are karmic relationships. They're just meant to teach us spiritual lessons about ourselves. We make contracts with beings previous to coming to Earth, and we engage with people, to find out aspects of ourselves and to deal with it and heal them. And then once that contract is, completed and accomplished, then you move on. So, I'm sorry. When I stop, it's because I'm reading comments. I'm multitasking is not quite natural. I like to. We dial 1. Okay. I'll put the information where to call, because I know UK, you have a 5 hours difference, and it's late for you guys. It'll be like 2 o'clock in the morning. But if you want to call, by all means, and let me know if you want to call on WhatsApp, because I don't want you paying for the call. So if you want to call, if somebody wants to call from Europe, hit me up in my email, give me your number, and then I'll call you from WhatsApp, because I don't want you paying for it. Okay, so again, my email is I'll put the email in there. I'm not going to keep saying it. I'll put my email, Blog Talk. I'll put the link to Blog Talk tonight. Everything will be on the the video. Yeah, okay, so like I said, if you want to have a conversation with me, by all means, you can call in tonight. If you have beef with me and you want to really get your point across, by all means, call tonight. As long as you're gonna be respectful and watch your mouth, because potty mouths are not allowed on the show. You can speak your mind without being disrespectful. Like I said, I'm all ears, and I'm probably the most receptive person to hearing people adverse opinions, based on the fact that I'm pretty balanced like that. I always like to hear someone else's perspective, and I'm very respectful of it. So for that being, it's open galactic mic tonight. So if you've had any interaction with ETs, if you've done, UFO intel, we've had really great sightings over San Francisco, and with the fires, some people were seeing some sightings over Napa Valley. So if you have any cool pics of any sightings of the UFOs, please, by all means, send them in my email, and I would love to, if you don't mind me sharing them, I would love to share it with the family and what have you. Okay, and I'll put my email, my Facebook, my, I think Twitter. I don't even know my Twitter account. I don't know what my Twitter is. I think it's Flurboon. I don't know what the name is. Whoever has I have two Twitter accounts. I don't, listen, Flurboon's all over the place. I'm a woman of a certain age. I don't even like having this many things that I have to remember. But call in tonight and make sure you call in early, because I go by, I do go by, who's first and who's second. I do go in chronological order, and Barry Littleton's joining me tonight. Thank you, Peace, XOX. It's Flurboon999, so that's my Twitter account. You can always catch me on Twitter, and I always just share the shows on Twitter. So, but again, call in tonight. We'll have a lot of conversation. I love Open Galactic Night, especially with Barry, so we get it in. We have a lot of wonderful conversations, a lot of contactees, and I always say to the ET groups, to the reptilians, to the insectilians, to the Arcturians, to the Pelagians, to the Zeta Reticulans, who else? To the Lyrians, the Syrians. By all means, call tonight. We accept all beings calling us. We get some odd phone calls sometimes. It's very interesting. So, it's a very interesting show, is that it's an open platform for all beings to interact with a level of respect. And I'm grateful that I was able to create something of that magnitude. That's been pretty conducive thus far. So, by all means, call in. I'm, the BioBots and the empty seaters. You can feel those too. But I had to talk about that, because I was just my FB was full of beings that I couldn't verify. I like to verify people because I'm, like I said, I have healthy paranoia, but some beings are not real. And they're just interacting and getting all our information. They're not real. It's crazy out there. Cyberspace has a whole bunch of incubus, succubus infiltrations going there, cyber-wise. Sick. Anyway, the number, where's my number? I usually keep it by where's my number? Okay, family, I'll put the number. I'm a mess. I'll put the number. I gotta laugh at myself sometimes, because, like I said to you, many of you, like I said, I'm a woman of a certain age. I look a certain age and I act a little silly like a certain age, but I am really a woman of a certain age. And it takes me a while to find things. I'm that mom and auntie that shouldn't have gotten access to the internet. I'm joking. I'm really joking. I'm really not, though. Anyway, so join us tonight on Aquarius Rising 9th Gate. It's at 9 p.m. Eastern, so our West Coast people, it'll be a little earlier for you. For our European family, it's 5 hours later for you guys. For your Central, you're good. Central, you're an hour behind us. So join us tonight. I'll put the number all in there. I'll put everything in the thing. You just got to wait a minute, because it takes me a minute to put it all in there. I'll put all the information. And call us tonight. I also totally resemble the remark. It's all good in the hood. Can't stop, won't stop. Oh, and as a reminder, remember tomorrow, for all our sea stars and sun stars who always are involved in us re-upping our divine shield, remember to rock that purple and white tomorrow. It's beautiful when we do it. We really raise the frequency. Also, I'll have the mantra that we state. Now we include the insects, the plant life, the aquatics, and animal life. We do add them to our mantra to react. We need to reactivate our shield, because listen, madness is going to happen. They always do an attack during the time, but it's been really helping. A lot of our children are being freed from sex slavery. A lot of animals are now being freed and out into nature, and a lot of things are being revealed. So it is working. So remember tomorrow. It's Friday the 13th. This is a beautiful time, because they demonized Friday the 13th. We're going to utilize that magical day, divine feminine, to reactivate our shield, and we'll party a little bit. So I'll be live on YouTube. They keep tagging me for music, but I don't care. I'm going to play something masterful so we can rock to it as we raise our divine shield. 1 p.m. As you know, that's the 13th hour. 1 p.m. Eastern time. If you're coming from another time, you can also do your shield a little, if you're a little later, do your shield again at your 1 o'clock time. But you can join me tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, so we could rock it out. Hopefully, I hope I don't have anything to do tomorrow. I know I had a couple things to do tomorrow. I won't do anything tomorrow. I gotta make sure I replan some stuff because I was planning to do some stuff tomorrow, but I've got to clear my space because this is more important. All right. So I love you. Be mindful of who's in your on your Facebook list. I do too. I gotta look at. Be mindful. These biobots and empty seaters. They are thriving, living and hiding amongst social media, and it's because social media that they exist. And you have to be mindful and look at Central. Central's an hour before. So if it's 1 o'clock, it's gonna be 12 o'clock for you in Central. So 12 o'clock for you in Central. Okay. So I will put up the mantra. I'll do something. I'll remind you all. And early in the day, I'll make a really quick video just with the mantra and everything, so you have it. And then 1 o'clock we meet up. That's what we do. Purple and white rocket. Our sun stars rocket. Our sea stars rocket. Little people. I have my little people in the purple and white tomorrow. They love it. So this is something that's positive, and it helps to uplift the planet and the frequency on the planet. So please join us. It's a beautiful time. So I love you, family. I'm out. I gotta go, and we'll talk tonight on Aquarius Rising 9th Gate, 9 p.m. Eastern. Peace.